We have the need. We have students who are wanting this education. We're having to turn them away. And that's what really got me. I mean, we have people wanting to learn, and our facilities aren't allowing for that. We've got to make room for these people because we need these people in our workforce. And so, unfortunately, the way we're operating right now, Midland College is a bit of a bottleneck, right? We aren't able to help the people that are willing. And that's a huge bummer. And I think it's the responsibility of our community to do something about it.
Kelsie Rasure,
Hi.
what's up? Thank you so much for coming in today.
You're so welcome, but it is my honor. I wish you knew how excited I was all week to do this.
We will Venmo you after this podcast for sure
Yes,
for
of
those
course, of
kind
course.
words.
Yes.
Okay, so you're coming in today to talk about the Midland College bond. I don't want to act like I know everything about this. This is why you're here. But before we start there, if you want to give us a little bit of your background and obviously how you got involved with the upcoming bond.
Yeah, sure. So I have to tell you, this is not something I had on my bingo card for 2025 by any means. I'm honored with the opportunity, but certainly was not expecting it. Just to give you a little bit of background, I am Midland born and raised, and I'm one of those weird people who stayed in Midland. I have never left. I went to Midland Christian from kindergarten until the time I graduated, and I knew that I was not ready to go off to the big school. I had a lot of friends, doing the college thing, going to Texas, A&M, had a lot of Aggie friends, which was awesome for them. And I loved that. I just knew me as a person was not ready. I'm very thankful that I had that knowledge about myself because I don't think I would have done well if I had been, if I had gone off like a lot of my friends were. So I stayed here. I stayed at Midland College. It's funny looking back on it because I told myself I'll come to Midland College, do that for a year, and then I'll be ready. Then I'll be ready to spread my wings and fly and, do my own thing, but I just need Midland College for a year. And I think that that's what a lot of people do is they're like, okay, I'm just going to do this short term and I'll end up doing something bigger later. Y'all, I fell in love with Midland College. I loved it. My mom had gone to Midland College, and so she had told me all these stories about how she had met some lifelong friends, truly friends that she still has to this day. And so I was kind of like, I don't know if that's going to be me, but I'll give it a shot. I went in open-minded, but also not like super, super optimistic about it just because all my friends had gone.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I graduated with 89 people and I knew every single one of them. Every single one of them knew me. It was very small and intimate, for lack of a better word. I mean, again, we knew everything about everyone. So going to Midland College was a little bit of a culture shock for me because it was bigger. It certainly wasn't the size of most colleges, but it was bigger than what I was used to.
Yeah.
And I did have a few friends who followed me from Midland Christian. However, it was a lot of new and it was a lot of getting used to stuff. And I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I had the best teachers. I feel like I got a really, really good education, but more than anything, it really made me fall in love with Midland.
Yeah.
And I've always liked Midland. It's my hometown, obviously. But Midland College really made me fall in love with this community. And I can't necessarily tell you why. I think it was just experiencing a different part of Midland that I had never known before and meeting people who, frankly, were coming to Midland to go to Midland College and they loved it. And it was just really cool to meet new people, have different experiences, do different clubs or events or whatever, and really just kind of fall in love with Midland. So I did Midland College for 2 years. And then again, I didn't leave. I went down the street to UTPB, did that for a couple years and I graduated. Ended up graduating from UTPB with a degree in marketing. But Midland College is really what encouraged me to stay here. And it worked out really well for me. I got my real estate license whenever I was 19, 32 now, and still doing real estate. Super thankful for that opportunity, but I didn't have a reason to leave.
Right.
Once I went to Midland College for a year, it was like, you know what, this really isn't so bad. This actually is great. It's a great opportunity for me. I'm able to learn. I'm able to get into my career, and why leave?
Did they
I
still
went every weekend to all my friends' colleges and stuff, so I certainly got that experience, but at the end of the day, I was coming home, going to school for free, living with my mom and dad for free, um, and obviously graduated with no debt, so
Yeah. Did Midland College still have the dance team when you were there?
good question, and I should know the answer to that because I danced for 15 years of my life, but I never even
I
thought
was
about it.
on the first year of their dance team.
Ew. That is one of the coolest things, and one of the reasons I love Midland College so much is everybody has a Midland College story,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's the dance team or kids college or just playing pickleball at the, tennis courts, whatever. Everyone has been impacted by Midland College in some way, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I still have I'm gonna call it a coffee cup that I made at kids college
Uh,
in the pottery class.
you still have it.
It's at my
Does it
mom's
hold
house.
coffee?
Oh no.
Oh,
It's
okay. Then
it's
I'm not
it's
sure.
hideous, but I'm like, I'm so happy she still has that and it's on a
Oh.
shelf in the living room. It's perfect.
Oh, that's a trophy. That's
Yes.
cool. See, that's what I love. I mean, I just think if you really think about it, and maybe you haven't directly been influenced by Midland College, but somebody that you love or
Mhm.
somebody in your family has. Everybody has a Midland College story.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
That's really
nostalgic.
cool. Yeah.
So what is you? So explain to the audience out there. So what is your position? You're with a PAC.
Yes.
Okay. So
Mhm.
how did you get involved with this PAC to help with this bond?
Ryan, that is such a good question. And I am asking myself the same thing. Uh, I am I'm not involved in the political space
Okay.
whatsoever. Like not even a little bit. I have some friends that are trustees of Midland College, and I think my name was brought up in a room, and I was getting phone calls. And to be honest with you guys, I love and respect the people who were calling me, and I didn't even think about it. I said, absolutely yes. What can I do? Once I, kind of found out what the bond was going to do for the school and for the community, I was like, absolutely, my answer is yes. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I will figure it out because it's worth figuring out.
Join the club, girl.
Yeah, I
Join the
mean, it's
club.
life, right? Like,
Exactly.
nobody really knows what we're doing,
We're all
but we're
winging it.
figuring it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm surrounded by truly incredible people who are helping me, and I'm so thankful for that. And frankly, I feel like I'm thriving because this is like so up my alley. I love everything about it. So far so good. But yeah, I got approached with the opportunity, and I said yes.
And you reached out. We're in Leadership Midlands again for the people out there who know what Leadership Midlands is.
Yeah,
And you're like, hey, can we talk about this
yeah,
Midland College bond? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like again, we love to promote Midland and we loved new things for, obviously students and, for decades to come.
for sure.
So of course, okay, so let's sort of get into the nitty gritty of the bond. Midland just went through a bond for MISD.
hmm
Um, so what are some of the components and what is the total bond proposal, like the amount?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I kind of want to talk a little bit about what my job is
Okay,
as a PAC chair.
perfect.
I ultimately my job is to get this bond passed and to get yes votes on May 3rd. But I'm kind of taking it a step further because I want people to know what they're voting for, not just know what they're voting for, but the value they will receive. This is taxpayer money,
Mhm.
and that's an investment. So why is that an investment worth making? So happy to tell you all about the bond, but I also really want to spend some time talking about the value that we would see from this
Of
bond.
course.
And I have some notes if it's okay for me to
Please.
pull them out because it's numbers. I obviously wanted to make sure I was giving everybody the right information.
Just make
Because it's
stuff
a
up.
lot of
Yeah.
numbers. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that would go over well. So I'm not going to do that. So yeah, total, the bond is $450 million.
450 million?
Can you write us a check?
Kelsie, you could have just called. Terra, can you check the account?
Yeah.
Yes.
I should have known.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
We
Do you have
I
Venmo?
would take a check or cash.
we
whichever you
run a
prefer.
wildly successful podcast. Like, of
50 million
course
is
we can. Okay, so 450 million. All right.
next time. Yeah, so that $450 million, what are we going to get for it? The Advanced Technology Complex for $277 million, a cutting edge facility to consolidate CTE programs serving both high school and adult students. The Health Sciences Facilities expansion, that's $43 million.
Okay.
Critical upgrades to support the growing health sciences programs. Campus renewal, that's $54 million. General upgrades and renovations to enhance the overall campus experience. Residence halls updates, $35 million. Improvements to student housing facilities. Student Services Center for $30 million. A new center designed to enhance student support services. And then we have a remaining $10 million, which is going to go to safety, security, signage, and lighting upgrades. Key enhancements focusing on improving campus safety and accessibility. So that's the breakdown
Okay.
of what the bond is. The biggest focus is CTE. So the applied technology and health sciences specifically. Our community has a workforce demand, right? I mean, I think everywhere you look, everyone you talk to, just this past week, I've talked to 3 different people who are hiring, looking for good help. And not just good help, like willing, warm bodies, but people educated and ready to go. And that's really what CTE is about. It stands for Career and Technical Education. So it gives you the hands-on training to be able to enter the workforce ready to go. I think anybody who knows Midland or has worked in Midland can agree that there is a need for that. And while oil and gas is obviously a big piece of that, that's our primary economy, right? It's not just oil and gas. It's healthcare, which I think we can all agree that
Mhm.
there's a need for that as well. As well as, some of the trades, plumbing, electrical, HVAC. I mean, to be honest with you, it's anything. I mean,
Okay.
there is pretty much any industry has a need for that career and technical education, that training. So what Midland College is wanting to do is um, cater to that,
Right.
right? We have the need. We have students who are wanting this education. We're having to turn them away. And
Mm.
that's what really got me. I mean, we have people wanting to learn, and our facilities aren't allowing for that. We've got to make room for these people because we need these people in our workforce.
Mhm.
And so, unfortunately, the way we're operating right now, Midland College is a bit of a bottleneck, right? We aren't able to help the people that are willing. And that's a huge bummer. And I think it's the responsibility of our community to do something about it.
Let me pause right quick. I want to say bless you to Mark. So if for anybody who might see this, so today we have been graced with a documentary crew from a French television network in France, everybody, that are here with us in Midland today. So if you hear anything behind the scenes or you see cameras in the thing, like this is crazy for us. We're usually the ones filming people. So it's a great, so we've got Mark and we've got Cedric today. They've been following us around. 2 excellent guys. So shout out to them.
And bless you.
And,
Yes,
and bless you, Mark.
I feel like I am a Kardashian a little bit, and I have never wanted to be anything more in my life. So
It's like we're on a reality show, right?
this is truly like you have no idea how I'm in my element right now.
I know when I told you, I said, hey, there's going to be a camera crew. You were like, yes. Okay. Like,
Yes, I was like, yes, but I have to tell you, I was not entirely prepared for them to like greet me at the door,
right.
which I appreciate. But I'm like, oh my God, hello,
Like, I'm not ready.
hello, Frenchman
Well,
with
at
the
least
camera.
Bonjour.
I'd rather be Kardashians than us be on like a deserted island or something. Like,
True.
you know,
It could
so
be worse. Could be worse.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to the CTE, right? Because, in talking with Mayor Blong, right, at Leadership Midland a few weeks ago, I mean, the interesting thing about Midland are the very high salaries, right, which do draw
Mhm.
people here, but also the very, very low unemployment rate, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about like Midland College wanting to expand this CTE program, it's not like it's not just for people who are like helping you find jobs, but it's helping you find an already like a level of experience, right? An
Absolutely.
advanced level of experience.
It's putting you into those jobs ready to go. And I think I don't know really what y'all's college experience was, but for a lot of people, college is not what's going to work for them. It just kind of depends on the person and what they want to do. And I think for a lot of the kids, especially going through MISD, they may have an idea of what they want to do, and maybe it is a trade, but they don't necessarily want to spend the time or money going through college, but they still want to have one of these good paying jobs. And frankly, we need them. So, what is the solution? And I think that that's where CTE comes in, because you're like, here you go. This is what you want to do. Here is the track that you need to be on. Plug and play. And then within a couple years, they're in the workforce. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if people really take the time to understand what this bond is, what it's for, and how it's going to benefit our community, it's hard not to vote for it, in my opinion.
Right. What was it? A few months ago, we toured Midland College.
Mhm.
That was my first experience
Oh, really?
there. Yeah, I hadn't been
Cool.
there before.
Besides,
Wasn't
when
it
we
awesome?
hosted a beauty pageant.
Well, we hosted a beauty pageant there.
Mhm.
That's what we did. But I mean, touring the facility and
Imagine.
getting to seeing like
Yeah.
the library, and I was thinking back on the the health sciences
Yeah.
aspect where they had like, I don't, they're,
Dummies.
yeah, mannequins, dummies or
Yeah.
something, but they were like, they could talk, they could like throw up and like do all
Yeah.
these, like they were very advanced. There was one that gives birth and
Yes.
stuff like
Oh.
this.
Uh-huh.
And they would have all these like cameras so they could almost like watch you practice
Yeah.
and give you pointers. It was like fascinating. I was like, oh, all right there.
Isn't that awesome? So that is a perfect example of one of the programs that falls within CTE. It's hands-on, real life experience that prepares you for the workforce. And it's funny, y'all, because I think I wanted to be a real estate broker since I was very young, and so I didn't really need necessarily CTE. But I think about, and no offense to my education, but I took a lot of pointless classes,
Mhm.
and I look back on it and I'm like, what a waste of time. And it was great and it was wonderful and I don't regret any of it. But man, I feel like that time could have been so much more beneficial to me in my career if it was more relevant to my career and what I was working to become. So by no means do I regret any of my education. I'm thankful for it. But man, how valuable would it be to get to do something like that? Deliver a baby,
Mhm.
if that's what you're going to school for,
Sure.
and be prepared right out of the gate to do that. Man, I think there's so much value in that.
What was the facility that we went to that was like, I don't want to call it a nursery. I don't know what it necessarily was, but it was childcare,
Yeah, I think it was a
a
preschool.
preschool.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Like
yeah.
it was like super advanced. I
It
was
was
like,
beautiful.
it was gorgeous. Right.
Yeah, that was the first time I had been in there. That's new.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's brand new.
yeah. I mean, within the last few years, brand new. But I was very impressed.
When I was going there, they had just opened the women's dorms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that had just been built out and finished. And I think my class, I didn't stay there, but like they were the first ones to be able to move
Oh,
into
funny.
those.
Well,
Yeah,
those need to be redone now,
it's crazy.
as you
Yeah,
might
that was
imagine.
time ago.
O'Shaughnessy is actually under construction right now. We kind of saw that whenever we were on the campus a few
Mhm.
months ago. That is supposed to be done, I think, in September.
Okay.
But I mean, there's still two more dorms that need quite a bit of love,
Yeah.
as you can imagine. Frankly, I felt like they needed quite a bit of love whenever I was there in 2011.
Yeah.
So they really need some love now.
Is that part of because I read through
Yeah.
I read through the notes of campus. Is that part of campus renewal? Is that part
Yes.
of it? Okay.
Actually, there is a specific bond item that covers the dorms, the resident hall updates for 35 million.
Okay.
So there's a specific item for that.
When's the last time something like a college bond went through?
Yeah. So Midland College has not had a bond since 2005. So it's been about 20 years.
20 years. Okay.
Mhm.
Gosh, I was like barely out of the crib really
Yeah.
by that time.
Uh-huh.
I'm young, Terra.
It's just because you're so young.
Okay, so 20 years ago. So
Mhm.
again, like, is that common?
I would say it's relatively common.
Okay.
States provide money for the education. Colleges have to come up with the money for brick and mortar, or campus renewals, that kind of thing. So, 20 years is about, I would say on par, for what we need. But also, not only are we just renewing our campus, and kind of bringing it back to life, but we're also adding to it,
Right.
right? So that 277 million applied technology facility is going to be state of the art, which I just think will be so cool to have something
Mhm.
like that in Midland and get to speak to that, and get to share that with people because it really will be an amazing, amazing facility.
We talked about a little bit nursing programs like welding, automation.
Diesel technology.
Okay.
hmm Remember we walked through like all of that. It started with automation, then we worked our way back into like the engineering
Oh, right.
piece of it. We played with that little cube thing that he had made from the 3D printer.
Yeah.
All of that falls under CTE, which
Okay.
is really cool because again, it's that hands-on education
Mhm.
and that real life experience.
Yeah.
So
They had
yeah,
me at
we've seen all of this stuff that we want to not just improve but grow.
I'm wondering, like, could or does, I guess, Midland College offer tours like that to other folks like us? We had the privilege of going
Yeah.
through Leadership Midland, but I almost feel like until you see it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
No,
yes, it's one
you're
thing to see it
so
on paper, a
right.
PDF or an email or a social media post, but like, it wasn't until I got to walk through there and go like, oh, okay, I see it, get hands on with
To
it.
be honest with you, Ryan, I feel the same way. And I went to school there, but because that wasn't my wheelhouse. That's not even a part of the campus I ever saw,
Right.
if it even existed then, quite frankly, I'm not sure. But to be honest, I don't know for certain if that is something that's offered, but it's absolutely something that Dr. Kennedy would be willing to figure out. Dr. Kennedy's the president of Midland College. Dr. Damon Kennedy, he is fabulous. And I know, I mean, it's really important to him as well, to people, for people to understand what this bond means. And I think you're so right. You know, I think in order for people to really know what it means, they should see what they're going to be voting for.
Right.
So absolutely. And
Yeah.
to be honest, if anyone wanted to figure that out, I mean, they're more than welcome to reach out to me and I will make that happen because I do think that there's a lot of value in seeing it for yourself.
Well, even for like prospective students, I mean, do they offer it
100%.
for that?
There
Because
are campus tours for students. But as far as like, you know, adults just curious about
yeah,
Midland College, I'm not exactly sure if that's something that's
Yeah.
offered. Because I do think that that would be a little bit different than like what a campus tour would be.
right.
You know, I'm not interested in going to school there necessarily, but I would like to know what's going on.
I mean, I did see the cafeteria. It was pretty sweet.
I mean,
pretty
it
nice.
was really,
It was
really
pretty
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
I see here said student enrollment projected to grow from 6,000 to over 10,000 in the next decade. Is that total? Is that per?
It's very conservative. So that
It
is,
seemed low. Yeah.
yeah, that is even without any, you know, obviously we're all hopeful this bond passes, but even if it doesn't, our students are going to grow. That's just based on what we have seen historically. I think that when this bond passes and we have all these amazing things, that number could, I mean, easily double.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think we're going to attract a lot more people than what we have in the past. And of course, that's what that number's based on. It's just our historical data.
Midland as a whole, you know, can be fiscally conservative.
Hmm.
Um, and I always kind of look at it like this is for our community. This is for
Hmm.
education, you know,
The betterment.
the next generation,
Yeah,
right, of Midland.
100%, yeah.
I mean, has there been any sort of like argument against this bond? Like, other than, okay, my taxes, but I mean,
You know, I'm with you. I do have a bit of a hard time understanding why someone wouldn't want this. I do hear the tax dollar argument quite a bit. And I understand that. That's people's hard-earned money.
sure.
I own several properties here in town and I pay property taxes with the best of them. The way I see it is people are really good about complaining about Midland, you know, construction, there's nothing to do, there's no service at this restaurant, whatever. I kind of live by the mantra, don't complain about what you tolerate. So if you aren't willing to do something about it, then you don't have the right to complain about it.
Amen.
So these people who want to talk trash on Midland, I get it. We're not perfect, but what are you going to do to change it? And so to be honest, it's that same kind of mindset that they don't want to pay their hard-earned money, but they also want to just complain about Midland. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, okay, well, what do you think has to happen in order for it to improve? And at
Yeah.
some point,
Right.
something's got to give.
Right. You
Um,
can't like expect and demand a bunch of change, but then when changes are proposed, kind of like, well, but not that change.
yeah, yeah,
And or expect
exactly.
it at no cost.
Right.
Like
It
there's
costs.
no free lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, these things do take money
Yeah.
to happen. To give you an idea of, you know, just kind of the value, the valuation of it all, this bond, when it passes, I keep saying if it passes, but I'm
It will
really
pass.
hopeful.
No, I
So
like that sign.
when it
When it
passes,
passes.
it's going to be about $50 per $100,000 valuation of your home.
Oh, that's
So I think so too, Tara, and I appreciate you saying that. So yeah, I mean, it's for a $300,000 tax assessed home, you're looking at about $150 a year. Our median sales price is about 350. So for that person, you know, it's going to be about 175, less than $200 a year.
What's
I
that
think
broken
it
down
makes
by
sense.
months?
That's a
Just-
dinner at
Just set
Cowboy
aside.
Prime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how I see it too. But I also don't want to be disrespectful because people work really hard in this
course.
town.
They
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of the things I love so much about this community is we are hardworking people, and I respect that and I value that. But I think that yeah, it may not be a lot of money to a lot of people, but it is a lot of
Mhm.
money for a lot of people.
sure.
So assigning the value to that, you know, what are you going to get? We're going to get jobs. I mean, we're going to get people taking care of these jobs, and those people, when they're making money, they turn around and give it back to this community. They shop local. They stay here on the weekends. They do things that will benefit this economy.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we keep our local talent. I know a lot of people, a lot of my precious friends left for college because they felt like they needed to get a better education somewhere else, and they stayed where they went,
Mhm.
Dallas area, Houston, wherever. I think it would be awesome if we had an opportunity to retain local talent and that
Absolutely.
talent turned around and contributed to our economy, right? So, yes, we have the workforce demand. We also have the supply of people who want to be plugged in, but there's that missing component, and that's the education piece.
Mhm.
And Midland College can only do so much. Like I said, we're turning people away because we just can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's what is such a bummer to me is we have these people ready and willing to learn. Let's step up to the plate. Let's do what we need to do to make it happen so that these people can turn around and be productive people in our workforce.
Is staffing a part of this, or like because obviously expansion wise, right? They're going to have to bring on more staff. Is that factored into this?
That's a good question. We have never really struggled with faculty.
Okay.
We have, in fact, you didn't go to Midland College, but man, we had some of the best teachers. In fact, I tell people this is kind of funny. Dr. Kennedy, who's the president now, was my history teacher,
Okay.
which is really cool. But what's cool about the Midland College faculty is, in a general sense, they stick around for a while because Midland College it's just easy to love and it's easy to fall in
Mhm.
love with the community and the culture that they represent. So faculty isn't something we're super concerned about.
Okay.
They'll grow with the college. More than anything, we need the facility to be able to teach these students. I think we're doing a really good job with what we have. We're obviously operating safely, but we're not going to be able to do that much longer. And
Mhm.
again, we're turning people away as it is. But yeah, faculty isn't something we're concerned about.
What other ways are you guys getting the word out? Because I feel like, you know, many people are just going to see this pop up, you know what I mean, when they go to vote. I want to know, like, get a sense of like, where else are you guys
Yeah.
sort of like making this known?
So you guys don't really know this, but you are like on the brink of this vote and the conversation around it because February 11th, so that was about a week and a half ago, was when the trustees unanimously decided to put a bond on the ballot on in May. So this is new news.
Mhm.
If you have been around me in the past week, you have certainly heard me talking about it. But besides that, we really don't have marketing together yet.
Okay.
And we do have some concepts for logos and that kind of thing. You will start to see it big time within the next couple of weeks. We really couldn't get started with a lot of our content until we knew that a bond was going to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
So that's when we found out a week and a half ago and have been working hard ever since. You're going to see more and more of it.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty much everywhere you look until May 3rd.
What I'm hearing is we were like almost like the first step here.
Insiders.
Look at us. Look at us. We're getting that behind the scenes stuff. I guess the question then comes into like clearly well before the vote happens, where do you guys want people to go to get more information about it and to really just,
Yeah.
envelop the whole thing?
I think it kind of just depends on who you are.
Yeah.
For me, and I feel like kind of my age demographic online is where people want their information. So we're going to have social media and a website within the next week.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so I would direct them back to that. I wish I could tell you a URL. I don't have
We'll
that
put it
yet.
in the description below.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I don't have that yet, but I would turn them to our digital sources, social media and our website, because that's where all the information is going to be housed. But again, you'll see people out and about. I mean, you'll see the yard signs. I mean, all the things that you would see with a normal campaign, you are going to see. You just haven't yet because we don't have all of our marketing
We'll
stuff
have to get a
quite
yard sign.
solid yet. Yeah,
Let's get a yard sign. Let's do it.
please.
I'm a
I'll bring you a few. You could put 10 in your yard.
It's a very small yard.
okay.
That's
I mean, that's all right.
That's great.
We'll be
It's okay.
people
I love
see
it.
us from a mile away. That's for sure. Um, I mean, you've kind of touched on like the long-term impact of this, right? But I just want you to kind of reiterate, like, this is not just like this is a temporary thing. Like, this is going to impact the community for decades, probably,
Yeah.
right?
Midland is not going to stop growing. That is something I can say with all the confidence in my heart. Midland is going to continue to grow. can we keep up?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. And to be honest with you, right now, I do not think we can keep up with our growth. I think we have hit a point where, like I said earlier, we are a bottleneck. And unless we do something about it, we are going to continue to experience a huge gap in our workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we going to step up to the plate and do something about it?
Get ahead of it instead
Get
of
ahead
trying
of
to
it.
catch up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Our son is 19. He does work in the oil field, works in automation.
Oh, cool. Did he go to
Um,
Midland College?
He's looking at it right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he's applying right now. So do you have any tips?
You know, it's funny because I feel like even though being a new student was so long ago, I have to tell you, be open-minded. I went into Midland College, and again, my mom had gone there and she just raved about it. That was like a million years ago, right? And so I just kind of was like, I was 18 and whatever. Like, all my friends are going off. I'm going to do this because I don't feel ready, but this is just not my first choice. Like, I went into it kind of close-minded
Mm-hmm.
and pessimistic and just kind of like grouchy about it. And it was one of the best times of my life. So be open-minded, be excited about a new opportunity. You know, it's a different experience. It is what you make it, right?
Yeah.
Like, make it what you want it to be. Like, if you want to meet friends, if you want to get to know your teachers, do what you need to do to get yourself maybe out of your comfort zone, to make this experience the best it can be, because it really does fall on you.
Mm-hmm. And Midland College, I feel like, is easy. I had gone to a community college in Dallas right out of high school, and I was like, this is way too much. Like, parking was hard, and getting to class was
Yeah,
hard,
no
and
way.
traffic. And then coming in and going to Midland College, it was like, okay, I still get that community college experience without all the stress of like being in a
Big
huge
city.
city and trying to figure out like where to park, how long it takes to get to class,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So
It
I
is.
think
It's
that's
kind
great.
of, yeah, you're so right. It's cool too because your teachers know your names.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that was really big for me because I remember a lot of my friends who were at tech, they were in auditoriums with like
Right.
hundreds of students. There's no way teachers are going to remember your name.
Yeah.
And you know what's so crazy is uh probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, whenever I went to meet with Dr. Kennedy about chairing this pack, I like walked in and like shook, took my hand out to shake his hand. He's like, I know you. I remember you. I was your teacher. And I was like, oh, I know that. But I didn't know, I didn't know you knew that. And he was
Sure.
like, yes, of course. Like, and so it's just cool. And I think that really illustrates Midland College. Like, you're somebody.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think that's a really cool feeling because I think you lose that sometimes,
Mhm.
depending on where you go to school. You just become a number. And at Midland College, you're not.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I loved the most is I felt like all my teachers knew me. I knew my teachers, and I really enjoyed my education. And maybe it was easier. I remember people used to ask me, well, is it hard? And I remember thinking like, well, I mean, I don't know. It's fine. Like I have to do homework every night and I have to
Right.
study for tests,
Sure.
but at the end of the day, it was exactly what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very, very thankful for that. I will always be thankful for Midland College for not just making me or enabling me to be successful in my career, but successful in my community as
Mhm.
well.
I appreciate Midland College because after we did that tour, we left there with a awesome pickleball set. Midland College,
Some pickleball
it
set
got us to start playing pickleball. So
and that whole backpack.
it's great.
I mean, it was all kinds of swag.
They've got great swag.
The
Um,
hand warmer, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
hand warmer.
Yes, and it came at just the right time because then it
Yes.
started to get cold outside. Yeah.
So, okay, so there's talks of a potential drill site on the campus. Can you talk about that a little bit? It sounds like it would be beneficial to the campus.
Yeah, absolutely. So there has been a proposal from an operator to drill on an 11-acre tract of our campus. That is something that, frankly, Midland College and this certain operator have been discussing for years. Now there's a bond on the ballot, and so it's a little bit more, I would say, prominent amongst our community members. There are a lot of people, a lot of entities that will benefit from that operation, including our city. And truly, I mean, so many people could potentially benefit. I obviously was just brought into this conversation about a month ago. And like I said, it's been happening for years. So I can't speak to the historical timeline of it.
Sure.
But what I can tell you and what I know to be true is Midland College has hired outside legal counsel to figure out what is going to be the best course of action. There are a lot of moving parts. We're not just a landowner that an operator's approached us to have 11 acres, right? We're a taxing entity. We need to look out for the safety and security of our students and our staff and our campus. There's just a lot of factors at play. Obviously, there is some safety risk with an active drilling site. So we do just have to have the right conversations to figure out what that would look like. But we're super open to it. I mean, there's too many people to benefit for us to be closed-minded about
Sure.
it. So yeah, it's something we're open to, but it's not something that we have figured out just yet. But I'm hopeful that we will for
I
sure. I
feel
think there's a lot of benefit to it
yeah.
as well, outside of the monetary piece. Having an active drilling site could be really cool for our students to be able to see and hear and experience. It kind of falls under that CTE
Yeah.
umbrella,
Yeah.
right?
Hands on.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I do think it could be really great, but again, we've got to look out for Midland College first. But I think I feel very confident that we'll figure out a deal. We just haven't yet.
I mean, if the pump jack is the chaparral green and
Uh-huh.
the colors, I think that would be beautiful.
It'd be kind of cool,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's funny because anytime I sell a house and there's a pump jack in the backyard, I always like make the joke, realtors, they just have the same jokes they make over and over again. So my classic realtor joke is reminds us why we're all here, right? So kind of like with Midland College, right?
Yeah.
Like reminds us why we're all here. We're open to the proposal. We just kind of have to figure out what it's going to look like. So we're working on putting all those details together, and hopefully we'll know soon what that will look like, and hopefully it's going to benefit a lot of people.
Nice.
So people who want to get involved, how can they help support the campaign? Do you need volunteers? Like, how can people contribute?
Yes, this is not something that we can do alone. I need all hands on deck and frankly, all the help that I can get. I have a fabulous committee that I've talked into, and they're really excited to get going. We have our first meeting next week, but we are going to need a lot of volunteers and a lot of help. So I will send you, I have a link to a Google form, basically just lets people express their interest and what they would prefer to do, what they'd like to do.
Okay.
I'll share that with you and you can put it in your comments. Do that, or you can reach out to me directly and I'd be happy to plug you in. Truly, I want anyone and everyone who's willing. I want you to be involved.
Okay.
Would this count towards your volunteer hours for Leadership Midland?
Absolutely.
Well, win across the board. Let's
That's
do it.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll put that form too, and you can find it in the description below. Click that, and you can get involved. So just to wrap up again, let's talk dates. Early voting.
Yeah.
Look-
Early voting starts April 22nd.
Okay.
My birthday is April 21st. And so if you want to get me a birthday present, go out and vote the next day.
Boom. Nailed it.
Yes. April 22nd through 29th. That's the week of early voting. And then election day is on May 3rd.
Okay,
Awesome.
I'll be there.
Kelsie, thank you again for coming in
You're so welcome. It was my
and
honor.
educating us. It's
Yeah.
like we went to college today.
Oh, wow.
I loved it.
Okay. Now you can give me $450 million.
All right, I'll see where I can. Oh,
Here,
I'll
I'll
check.
Venmo you
I'll
right
check.
now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll
Okay,
check.
perfect.
See
keep
where
an
we're
eye out
at.
for it.
But again, thank you so much. Get out there and vote. Vote for this bond. Let's expand Midland College. Let's put more students into the workforce at an advanced level, and
Invest in our future.
exactly for
Absolutely.
the next generation.
Love it.
All right, we'll talk soon. Get out there and vote. See you on the next one. Bye.